When it comes to making friends and keeping friends, nothing does better for us here at the Manual than pairing food and drink. As far as drink goes, maybe a little obvious, but we go with whiskey. Whether it's 1 dram or 4 drams or an entire bottle, it can't be topped for us. This is why we're here today at the Flatiron Room in New York City with Gemma Patterson, the Balvenie Scotch Whiskey Ambassador, to do some fun stuff with Balvenie.
Yes, absolutely. For me, whiskey is such a perfect drink for sharing. Think about it. You're meeting up with some of your favorite people, sitting around with some of your friends and opening a nice bottle. It's a great thing to share, be it your 30th birthday and you're opening a bottle of 30-year-old Balvenie to share with a friend, or just having a few drams.
And once you have that bottle open, you need something to pair it with. And for us, we went to an old standard, wings. Today, we're gonna teach you how to pair Scotch whiskey and wings together. But before we do that, I think we should find out a little bit more about the Balvenie.
Yeah, absolutely. So Balvenie, we're a Scotch, so we're based in northeast Scotland. We've been making whiskey since 1892. We make whiskey in a very handcrafted way, so if you come and you visit us at the distillery, you'll pretty much see the entire whiskey making process. So from us growing our own barley, malting it ourselves on a traditional malting floor, right through to seeing the coopers tending and maintaining every single barrel. And then finally our malt master, he's been at the helm for 55 years now. 5.5 decades in crafting this whiskey he spent with us.
Awesome, that sounds amazing. Yeah. And we've got 4 whiskeys here today.
Yes, so 4 different Balvenies.
We're gonna be pairing 4 different Balvenies with 4 different flavors of wings. Can you tell me about the first one?
Yes, so the first one that we have and that I've brought for you is the Double Wood 12. This is, with Balvenie, really our flagship. So we first launched this back in 1993. Next year we're celebrating 25 years of this whiskey. Matured for 12 years in ex-American bourbon barrels, and then we're transferring that into a cask that's been used to mature Spanish sherry as a finish on the end for 9 months. So this one's going to be honeyed, sweet, a little bit of spice coming through from that Spanish oak sherry as well.
And that's why we paired it with Chipotle barbecue wings. I think those honey notes, the sweet smoky notes are going to go really well together. I mean, when we're pairing things normally, maybe take a little sip to prime the palate.
Yeah, I would agree. And you know, there's a lot of, we're drinking this Balvenie from a Glencairn glass, which is a glass that's specifically designed for nosing and tasting whiskey. So I would like, you know, just have a little nose, have a smell of the whiskey, have a sip.
Wing?
Wow. Okay.
I don't mind doing that back and forth.
No. And then a sip, and I would just kind of roll it around my palate, swallow it, and then I like to have a first sip and then a second sip, because that first sip can sometimes be a little bit aggressive. Your palate's not expecting 43% alcohol. Cheers.
The sweetness really comes around in both of them.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. And that little smoky note that you have with this works really nice with the sweetness of the whiskey as well. And for me, with the Double Wood, there's really nothing overpowering with this. It's kind of balanced. You've got a little bit of oak, a little bit of honey, a little bit of spice. It's just nice and kind of rounded.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. There's not one really component that's barreling down on you at any given time. I think it's a really nice pairing.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I actually originally thought that maybe the wings might overpower the flavor of the whiskey, but no, the two are quite balanced together.
Yeah.
Great. So this was the Chipotle.
Chipotle barbecue and
Double Wood 12. Delicious.
Can you tell us about the whiskey we're going to be drinking with this next wing?
Yes. So this one, we're going to try our 14 Caribbean cask. So this is a Balvenie that's been matured for 14 years in ex-American bourbon barrels, and we then transfer that into a cask that's been used to mature Caribbean rum. So we rest it in the rum for around 6 months, and the rum's going to make this one a little bit sweeter this time.
And thinking of those sweet notes, I think tropical when I think of rum.
Citrusy, tropical.
We've got all of that in these mango habanero wings. So we've got those tropical notes coming from the mango. We've got a nice sweet heat from the habaneros. I think we should give this a try and see what happens.
Yeah. I'm gonna try a drumstick this time.
Definitely more heat there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, a little bit spicy.
What's kind of cool, so obviously the proof of the alcohol, when you think of wings, thinking cold beer, low proof. I kind of like this because the heat from the wings is a little amplified, and I like my wings spicy.
So do I. So yeah, that spice you have on your palate when you take a sip of the whiskey, it enhances the spices on your palate.
It's also kind of a good way if you're having a gathering. If you get kind of a lower level wing, if you want to spice it up a little yourself, pair it with some Balvenie Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
When people think of food pairings, usually, you know, wine and food,
mm-hmm.
beer and food even.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily whiskey and food of any sort. A lot of people might just think, you know, you're gonna have whiskey neat or with an ice.
Or that it's like an after dinner drink
Yeah.
or a before dinner drink. Yeah, I hear that a lot, but I mean, I do a lot of whiskey dinners, and when you're thinking about the sharing aspect and you're sitting down and you're enjoying a meal or you're enjoying some food with some friends, you can absolutely enjoy that with a dram. And just the flavors, so when you're thinking about flavors and textures, and the complex flavor and aroma that you have within whiskey, and the different textures you have with different whiskeys as well, it's really interesting just to try the two together.
I've had these wings before. I've had this whiskey before. We've got spicy pickleback flavored wings.
I love pickles. I love picklebacks.
And when you think of whiskey and pairings, I mean the pickleback, the shot of whiskey and a shot of pickle juice is kind of really just a classic.
Yep.
So we've got that in wing form with more whiskey. It's win-win-win at this point.
100%. I'm very excited about this one. And this whiskey is going to be really interesting. It's an interesting choice with the spicy pickleback, because this time this is our peated Balvenie. So I said to you right at the beginning that we're drinking a Speyside whiskey, typically fruity, floral, sweet. This one is a little bit different because this is our only Balvenie which is actually peated, so it's going to be smoky this time. So you're going to have the peat smoke coming through along with the spicy pickleback.
And this one's a little higher in alcohol, correct?
It is. So we actually bottled this at 48.3% ABV. The others that we've tried are all 43.
And so I know when I drink whiskey at home, sometimes I'll add a rock of ice, sometimes I'll add some water. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, good question. So for me, I have my own ritual and how I'm going to drink my whiskey dependent on the situation. If I'm in Florida and it's 90 degrees outside, I'm probably going to add a cube. Whereas if I'm at home in the evening and it's a bit chilly, like it is snowing today, if it's a bit chilly outside, then I'll want to just have it neat probably. Water, I like to add a little bit of water, so because this one's 48.3, I think a little dash of water just helps to kind of cut that down and open up additional aromas and flavors within the whiskey as well.
You know what's great? I've got some water.
Aha!
Look at that!
So
came out of nowhere.
Let's try it then.
Okay.
I would say try the whiskey neat first, so let's just have a smell of it, have a taste.
Okay.
And then add a splash of water.
Haven't had the wings with this yet, but I think this is going to be a good pairing.
I think it's going to be a great pairing, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to add a splash. And I'll let you add your own. You should never water another man's whiskey.
Kind of sounds like that could get dirty.
So you notice just even a tiny bit of water does really help to open it up. You're diluting the alcohol strength, but you're actually also opening up additional aromas and flavors within the whiskey.
I definitely taste that and smell that. So now that we have
this one, you really get the smoke coming through.
Now that we have this opened up whiskey,
yep,
I think we should try it with the wing.
Let's do it.
Definitely some nice pickle flavor there. Some nice saltiness.
Yep. I think you are absolutely spot on, that briny, salty note. Even though it's just a hint of it, works really nice with the smoke. And this is the least spicy pairing, I would say.
Oh,
the
definitely.
other two with the chipotle and the habanero, that spice really brought out the spices in the Scotch. This time you're just really looking at that play between the saltiness and the smokiness.
Yeah, I think it goes really well together.
Mm-hmm.
So, you mentioned before we're at the Flatiron Room here in New York, which is one of the top whiskey bars in the city, and we both know the staff here, and we've learned rather, that they also love their wings.
I think their favorite post-shift meal is to go next door to Hog Pit and have some wings.
So, never one to like go against the bartender, because when it comes to drinks, they know what they're doing. Clearly, they know what they're doing here. Amazing drinks, amazing.
Yeah,
whiskey
we're
selection.
surrounded by beautiful bottles.
Yeah,
of whiskey
it's
right now.
it's a
Many of them.
whiskey candy store.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking with them. They suggested to go to the Hog Pit, so we went right next door, and that's where we got these wing flavors. They have a ton of flavors, which made it super easy for us to make these pairings.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, for our last one, a dry fire rub. There's tons of red pepper on there.
Yeah.
Hopefully nice and spicy. We haven't tried them yet, but what have we got with that?
So I've brought the 21 Portwood Balvenie, which is matured 21 years in American bourbon and this time finished in a port cask.
Okay.
So we're going to notice this one is going to have a lot of kind of nice rich sweetness, incredibly complex as well, so much more complex dram with a really nice long finish. So bolder, richer flavors, I think, that will work with the dry fire rub.
We've got some pours here. What exactly constitutes a dram?
So if you go to Scotland and you go into a bar and you say, can I have a dram? They'll give you their house pour of whiskey. And also, I mean, I get people ask me when I do my tastings all the time, they're like, what's the difference between whiskey and Scotch, first of all? Because you'll notice I don't really say Scotch. You go into a bar in Scotland and ask for a Scotch, they'll pretty much know that you're like an international visitor, because we just call it whiskey. So you'll go into a bar, you'll ask for a whiskey, ask for a dram, and you'll get a Scotch. A dram specifically though has like really nice connotations. So a dram is a shot, but there's no set measure for what is a dram. A dram for me is just an indication of how generous your host is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I poured your dram and my own.
That looks like a very generous host right there.
Yes.
Well, cheers.
Cheers. Slanch.
That's a delicious, delicious whiskey right there. Shall we
This-
try it? Oop.
This one we actually bottled to celebrate, so it's David Stewart's favourite, our malt master, who's, I said, been with us for 55 years. If you ask him which whiskey he's most proud of, and all of the whiskies he's made throughout his career, he'll say this 21 Portwood, so we're very proud of it.
Well, hopefully this pairing that we've got won't let him down.
Let's try it.
So this one is a contrast compared to some of the other ones. So we've got, on this, I think the heat from here and the round sweetness from here help to go together.
Yeah, I would agree. The wing isn't actually as spicy as I expected. It's just like it's a nice heat. When you have a sip of the whiskey, those kind of lovely, rich, warm fruits that you have and the spice just contrast but play nicely against each other.
And do you think it's because it's a dry rub?
Yeah. And I would say when you're pairing these as well, like thinking about temperatures, because if these were like really, really hot, as in hot temperature and then hot spicy, and then you have a sip of the whiskey, it's just, that's really going to enhance that heat and then sensation in your palate. So I would be careful if you're not into spicy food. Don't go try this and try whiskey, but if you are, you're going to love these kind of pairings.
Yeah, I think this has been amazing. The whiskey, the wings together, just really finding out about how the flavors in whiskey can go with any number of types of wings has been a great learning experience for me.
Yeah, I think for anyone, just be confident to go out, try different foods, different drinks, pair them together. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Just have the confidence to go and try different flavors and textures together.
And if anyone out there needs to find out more about the Balvenie or chicken in general, we've got plenty of stuff on themanual.com. We want to say thank you to the Flatiron Room and to Hog Pit for the lovely space and the amazing wings. Gemma, thank you again. Cheers.
Thank you, Sam. Cheers.